Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 474. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my loquacious co-host, Jason Goss.
Hiya.
You know, this is a DC podcast. I feel like we might have missed an opportunity. Like maybe maybe one of us should have called ourselves Loquacious Fox. and I don't know, maybe the other one could have been like Garrulous Slate.
No, not bad. Not bad.
So how are you this week, man?
Hanging in there. It's a tired week.
Yeah.
It's a tired week. Busy at work, and sleep comes and goes when it damn well pleases. But we'll make it.
I hear you, man. I keep getting a little better and then getting sick all over again. Like, I think I'm on my third round of being sick. Like, I was getting a little better, and then all of a sudden, like, my throat started killing me last night. And I went, really?
Yep. Hopefully we can make it through this with you sounding like a well person.
Yeah.
I think I'm finally completely over it.
Yeah.
I think.
I hope so, man.
Yeah. And
yeah, we're still...
it appears this is not going to be the season that I suddenly develop a pollen allergy, so I'm good.
Oh, yeah. It's, like our back deck is just covered in pollen, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Dude, every car I pass is like a light green.
Mm-hmm.
I have a black metal roof that I cannot see.
Right?
Can't see it. It looks like
a red truck that looks yellow.
Yeah, exactly. It just... I don't know, man. It looks like I put some, like... Because the color is so weird, it looks like I just, like, lined the top of my house with foam and put some ridges down it, so it looked like an inspector would be like, yeah, it looks good.
Right.
Like,
yeah. The pollen's out of hand.
It really seems to be. It's one of those things where I always wonder, like, year to year, do we just forget how bad it is, or is it really bad? But I swear you can catch handfuls of it in the air right now.
Yeah. Usually it's like, I hear people going like, oh man, that pollen. And then I turn around and it's like, it's July?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whereas I've got just a swarm of bumblebees in my backyard that are just, I mean,
oh God.
Time of their lives. Just time of their lives.
Yeah. I've had the issue of like,
and it's a very friendly breed in my backyard. I haven't seen a need to exterminate in any way. They just fly.
Yeah.
I swear the other day, like I was reading on the back porch because it was nice, and one just kind of like flew up beside me, hovered above the place where I like had my drink, and I wondered about my drink for a second, and I was like, no, I trust him.
Yeah.
And then, I swear, he just like hovered beside me, facing the same like view of the backyard that I had, and then like turned toward me, and then turned back and looked at the yard. And it felt like he just kind of like flew in and was like, "This is a nice place you got, man. Thanks for letting us crash. Appreciate it."
Like the other day, I opened the garage door, and I swear it was like the most like casual I've ever seen a wasp be. Just kind of floated in, like, "Hello, governor." I'm like, son of a bitch. There's a wasp in here now.
Yeah. There's something about it, and I've replaced this mailbox is the crazy part. But there's something about my mailbox where like every third day or so on average, I will go out and I will check my mail, and it'll be like, hey, I wonder what kind of bullshit paper. Oh God, what the fuck? Because like just. I had one mailbox on this place for like 6 years, and I replaced it. I mean, from scratch, pulled the pole out, the whole thing, and like new box, new pole, everything. Put new stickers on, for goodness sake. And it's still the wasps or the wasp.
Yeah,
it could either be one or a generation of them, or for all I know, it's a tradition passed down by one wasp and all of his wasp children. I don't know. But they all just like surprise, and they never do anything. They just like rush out of there. The one rushes out of there and just like buzzes around like, ah, and runs away. It's so weird.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'm not sure. I just keep seeing like if like we leave the car, one of the cars outside of the house, you'll just go outside and there'll be like a wasp trying to like crawl into one of the cracks. I don't know if it's the same wasp or if it's. And then they all always kind of just like come back. You'll see them disappear for a minute and then come back and be like, "Oh, there's a thing that keeps me from going inside."
Yeah,
I know, buddy.
Yeah, it does. Sorry,
I know. I mean,
do
you have a seal in your crack? Don't you look? I'm going back in the house.
Yeah,
Let me just look. No wasp.
I had a situation this weekend where one snuck into a hole that I've recently realized I had in the framing of a window in the bedroom.
Oh, okay. Good. It was in the framing of a window. I thought it was on your body.
No.
Okay.
Thank goodness. You can't sneak in any of the holes in my body unless I'm just super messed up. But this was I
was never able to.
This was a sober Sunday morning. And I hear a bzzz, and I look over to my left, and I was laying there reading. And I look over, and there's a wasp.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of thought, okay, let's give him a minute. He really didn't seem to have any agenda. Let's give him a minute. I'm going to see if he finds the way back out. Because there is I know where he got in. I've recently discovered this. I know where he got in. And he just got very confused, as insects are prone to do. And they find their way in and can't find their way out. I get it. And it finally got to the point where I was like, I just can't have a wasp hanging around the bedroom. I've got to put an end to this guy. I'm sorry. And I looked around and I couldn't find anything. All I had around me were like a bunch of books that I really liked. I don't have any fly swatters. I don't even know where to find one right now. I would have had to drive to a store and pull that out. And like the thing is, like once you have an insect in your sight, you don't want to leave that thing. Like you don't want to like if there's a spider somewhere, it's not like you want to run away because then you come back and you're like, "Where's the spider? I have to burn this room." You know, you have to keep your eye on the thing. So I did that, unfortunately, and the only thing I actually had was a coconut water bottle. And they're oddly shaped, and I've never tried to kill anything with the coconut water bottle, but it is brutal. It is so brutal. Yeah. You cannot get a good hit on it, man. I didn't feel good about this kill.
You don't say.
It hurt my soul a little bit, man. It wasn't.
Well, you see, I'm a hitman who likes to kill my victims with a sack of oranges.
In the most circuitous way I can possibly imagine. It was the worst part was like the first couple times I hit him, he just kind of like moved around a little bit, like, "Ah, come on, dude, sorry, I'll just go over here." Like, no, that's not. I'm not trying to move. I'm trying to actually kill you. Could you come back around the other side of the curtain rod, please? I would. Thank you. That's a clean hit. Oh. Okay, if you could just move back around to the other side of the curtain rod, I would really appreciate it if you could. There we go. And then I still had to hit him like 15 times. I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Well, I'm
bottom line, my family is
around
safe.
The new house.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any like horror stories of how to kill bugs or anything, but I'll say this: there's a TARDIS and a DeLorean in the living room. So that's the thing that's happened.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And Jareth the Goblin King is hanging out next to the Bluesmobile. So
nice.
There's no telling where anything will wind up. It's madness. We're having fun though.
I do like where you have the DeLorean and the TARDIS. I want to put like a plus symbol and then another plus symbol and then a bottle of alcohol and then like I want you to have a Rick and Morty shrine.
There's gonna be Rick and Morty something somewhere. Like
some reference.
Some magnets. We have some magnets on the refrigerator. I have some action figures that haven't been placed. The TARDIS and the DeLorean are on opposite sides of the living room, like on opposite sides of the television.
Okay.
We have these like little lamps with shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So like on the top shelf is like Jareth and the Bluesmobile, and then the other one has Serenity from Firefly, and then like the next shelf down is like the TARDIS, and then on the other side is the DeLorean.
Right.
And we haven't found anything for the bottom shelf yet that we feel good about displaying on the bottom shelf.
Fair enough.
If it were up to me, life would be full of all top shelves.
You do have some solid Ghostbuster stuff, though.
I do, and I don't know where I'm putting it. I have no idea where I'm putting that. Like, that's haunting me.
I mean, 14-inch figures.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Did I tell you that, like, if you actually open it, like I didn't know this. My youngest sister has the same set, and she like took them out of their box and threw the boxes away. Mm-hmm. And apparently, like before, like my mom saw those in the trash and was like, "Wait, let me make sure there's nothing in there." And thank God she did, because when she opened them underneath the little stand in the box, there were all different accessories and guns and stuff, all of which lit up. So I have the same set. So, but yeah, like if I take those out, like it's dope as hell, dude. Like the proton packs and everything light up is really cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to get on.
No, yeah, we should do a show. Yeah.
So, real quick, if you enjoy the show, and you haven't done so already, we do ask that you go over to iTunes and leave us a positive review. It really is. It's integral to driving new listeners to the show. And also, later on in the show, we'll have a voicemail from our dear friend and avid listener, Christopher White. And then in the television segment, a long past overdue voicemail from Jordan Valdez from the podcast Multiverse Musings on the Gotham mid-season premiere. So if you'd like to leave us a voicemail and be featured on the show, give us a call at 205-259-6331. And with that, we're going to jump into some news. Oh, man. So the Hollywood Reporter is saying that DC Entertainment president and president of WB's Consumer Products Division, Diane Nelson, is taking a leave of absence. Warner Brothers Entertainment CEO Kevin Tsujihara,
our most wanted.
Our most wanted. You remember like the simple days when Diane Nelson was your arch nemesis because she was like, "Hey, maybe Flash shouldn't be in the TVs and the movies."
Yeah,
I do. Now we know the true face of the villain.
Yeah,
Kevin Tsujihara.
Right.
But yeah, he announced the departure in a memo to employees that said, "Dear colleagues, Diane Nelson, president of DC Entertainment and president of Warner Brothers Consumer Products," dude, I just said that, has decided to take time off starting Monday, April 2nd. After 22 years with the company, she wants to recharge as well as have immediate and uninterrupted time with her family. This is her decision, and the entire senior management team and I support this and will help facilitate it as follows. The DC executive management team will report to Thomas Gawecki, Chief Digital Officer and EVP, Strategy and Business Development in the interim. Pam Lifford will report to me in the interim. Diane continues to be an important member of the Warner Brothers family and has worked on many of our most iconic properties. She has contributed greatly to the company's successes, and we look forward to her returning to the studio. In the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to your management team, blah, blah, blah. All right, so THR, Hollywood Reporter, says, quote, Nelson decided to set new priorities for herself and her family in the wake of a series of personal situations. One of the matters is properly recovering from back surgery she underwent late last year. I'm thinking, why the hell didn't you do that last year? Like back surgery, back anything is bad.
Yeah, but in the wake of you have that surgery, and then you think it's going to be better, and then it will take you some time to decide. Yeah, I'm not better yet.
Yeah, sure. I know. But yeah, so according to THR, the extended break has the full support of Tsujihara, according to the insiders, and will begin April 2nd. They also said Dan DiDio, Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, and Amit Desai who will continue to run the company's day-to-day. And Gawecki is not stepping into Nelson's position, but will support the team as needed in the time of absence. So I've gotten a couple of people coming at me with sending us links to this, and some of it seems to be like, oh, this is another Snyder situation. Like that seems to be the idea from a few people. And I've seen that on Facebook a lot as well. And I really don't think that's what this is. I think she just had back surgery and needs time to heal.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, and recharge, as they said.
It sure, I don't know. There's nothing to really pick apart about it unless we know more. But
I don't think so.
I mean, she was more of a TV side of things up until recently.
I mean, I don't think so. I think she was. I don't think she was. I think she's just kind of there in between. Like, she's just entertainment president.
Yeah, just part of DC Entertainment in general. But it felt like the only time I heard her name for a long time had to do with TV, and then suddenly I started hearing it with movies, and thought, okay.
Well, only because, like, the movies outweigh the television shows, you know? Like, whenever, like, Guggenheim said, oh, we can't have this guy on Arrow, it was because of Diane Nelson saying no, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
And she only said no because, like, no, we need that guy for the movies.
No, we're hogging him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Based on how divided the fan base is, like, back then I would have said, like, no, Diane, you're wrong. We can handle both. But based on how divided I've seen the fan base be, like, I like Gustin. I don't like Miller. I like Miller, not Gustin. You know what? She's right. We can't handle it. I can. You can. We're special. Most people can't handle it.
I
like to think people who listen to our show can handle it.
I would like to think that. I remember hating some of the stuff she said so much at the time about, like, we can't handle it, and being so resentful that I hate that we've gotten to a place now where I feel like we've got her back to some extent.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's kind of a rough pun, man. Lady just had back surgery.
Yeah. That's trying to be supportive through poor use of language.
All right. But no, I don't mind getting to a point where I'm like, nope, I see what she was saying. She may have been right.
I know.
As much as I hate to agree with it, she may have been right. And,
I agree. It's like, it feels weird. Like, it makes my skin feel weird. But yeah,
I thought the
maybe
fandom was
right.
better than it was, and it wasn't.
I really did. I kept hoping the fan base could handle the idea, but yeah, maybe she was. Maybe she was right. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. So this just dropped. What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Unless you have anything else, I'm going to go on to the next news story, man.
I think I was gonna say, I don't know, and trail off. That's all we missed.
Oh, all right. Cool. So this just dropped right before we started recording. Pedro Pascal has joined Wonder Woman 2. We don't know who he's playing, but he's from Narcos, and he was apparently a fan favorite on Game of Thrones. He was also in Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
I don't know any of those.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of that. I don't know.
The Golden Circle's the sequel, right?
I think so.
Wasn't it just Kingsman the first time? Man.
No, it was like Kingsman and the Knights of the something, I think. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I watched that movie one night, but I really don't know from Game of Thrones and Narcos. I got nada.
Yeah. Alrighty, so over to Aquaman. Dolph Lundgren has made some statements on his Instagram that says that there's some additional photography going on for Aquaman. He says, I'm here at Warner Brothers Studios for some additional photography. It's going to be fun to get into that costume again, even though it takes a while. And that there's also, there are also some reports. Mark Hughes on Superhero News. Apparently, I just found this out tonight, actually, from Brooklyn Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And went and checked it out. Mark Hughes on Superhero News said that, he's heard some reports that Aquaman is in trouble, that it's got some real problems. And Mark Hughes is like the dude, who loves all of the DC things. So maybe, who knows? Like, I'm sure someone's going to really start weaving this into a narrative here. And I might be inadvertently doing it right now.
Yeah.
I really might be inadvertently doing it right now.
Yeah. I would not support your narrative at this moment.
I'm not supporting my narrative at this moment. I wouldn't worry yet. I still feel like, despite what happened with Justice League and what we said with that, it is very common for tentpole films to do additional photography of some kind.
It's not even common; it's expected.
Justice League was more than we anticipated, much more than we anticipated. Even though it would be easier if the people who blindly, vitriolically hated on DCEU weren't the ones who were breaking the news stories about way more substantial reshoots. That's why it kind of throws me back for it to be coming from Mark Hughes. But even Mark Hughes said, "Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it yet."
Well, but there were the two.
I like James Wan.
Two camps though. Like you had one camp saying extensive reshoots, this is bad, and then another camp saying extensive reshoots. This happens a lot. Don't worry. They both started with the same base fact. There's a bunch of cameras on, and people in costumes. Yeah. Again, like that part we all knew, but
right,
how much of it would end up in the film, and how much it would change the way the story was presented in the 2 hours that Warner Brothers and Sugihara gave it, we could not have predicted that part.
Yeah.
Like, we were all fantasizing about this version where there were reshoots and someone was just trying to tell the story correctly, not reshoots, and then, oh, by the way, it's got to be 2 hours. I like your cut and all, but we're going to need you to take 30 minutes off this thing.
Right. But I do want to point out, I do want to say, make it clear, Mark Hughes, and this is about the 49-minute mark on this episode of Superhero News. I'll post a link to it in the show notes. He does say, from the test screenings, he's heard a lot of good things, but he's heard a lot of negative things, and he personally feels like it'll be fine. He's loved everything James Wan has put out. But he has heard some negative things and he thinks that there are some things that they need to figure out on Aquaman. I don't know.
I've seen the exact same news cycle about Deadpool 2 right now.
Dude, I've heard awful things about Deadpool 2. And I will say this about Deadpool 2. I have not enjoyed one single trailer. I've not been into it. It's just not catching me at all like the first one did at this stage. I'll watch it.
I don't know what to do about that. I really don't. They've been really enjoyable trailers. I mean, the idea that it didn't catch you like the first one did, I get that, because the first one is the first one.
Right, absolutely. I'm trying to account for that as well, but, I mean, even the little Logan thing that they did was hilarious to me, but...
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's something wrong, and I don't know what it is that's catching me up.
I haven't seen anything, factually seen anything in the film, or in the shots from the film in the actual trailer, because you have to specify that when you're talking about a Deadpool product, because all the fourth wall stuff. I haven't seen anything where I thought, oh man, is it really going to go that way? I don't know, man. It can get super bizarre, and I think I'm into it same way.
I mean, I haven't seen anything that made me go oh, is it going to go that way? But I've just been bored by it. I just haven't gotten into it. I don't have a real reason.
They sucked me in both times. Just Deadpool.
That's awesome.
Just Deadpool dropping the 3-2-1 on the second trailer, and then the first trailer where they start out with him just holding action figures. I was immediately back in the irreverence that made me love the first one so much. So I was there. I'm okay.
That's awesome. I would like to feel the same.
But all that to get back to rumors about how it's gone over and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Man, I don't know. You got to wait on that.
You do. I'm just, honestly, I'm a little shaken by Mark Hughes and what he's heard. I'm a little shaken by it.
I'm not prepared to be shaken yet.
Sorry, I forgot we're in the 21st century. We're in 2018.
Yeah.
I shook y'all.
Yeah. I mean, we're a full 25, 30 years past poorly photocopied zines. We live in a different world. Mm-hmm. Completely different world. I don't know. And we also live in a world where, in this particular instance, we haven't seen the first trailer.
Mm-hmm. Now, and I have some info on that. Revenge of the Fans actually was reporting earlier that an Aquaman trailer or teaser was going to be hitting WonderCon, and that obviously didn't happen. And people have been a little persnickety about it.
Sure.
James Wan popped over onto Twitter and explained why there isn't a teaser trailer yet. He says, "Hey friends, I usually do my best to avoid internet noises, especially fabricated distractions. But a teaser trailer going out this weekend was never in the books, despite what some claim. It's not because of anyone or any nefarious reason holding it back. It's me. I am simply not ready to share. This movie is filled to the gills with VFX, and the process is as slow and laborious as a sea slug. Yes, even shots for the trailers take forever to do, and I refuse to put out anything that might be construed as subpar. I know it seems like nothing much is brewing above the surface, but I can assure you we're working nonstop under the waves. And yes, I plan to use oceanic puns and references every chance I get." I like James Wan. I've never seen a movie that he's done. I just never have. Fast and the Furious, I think that was one of his. Or maybe I have seen one of his. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I haven't seen the vast majority of what he's done.
Yeah, really not familiar with him on an intimate level at all. But
I saw the first Saw movie.
Yeah.
Apparently he did that.
Well, there's something. I never even saw that one. I've never run across his work. Sorry, just not a thing I've seen. But you get to call the shots on that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, he's in a lot of Saw movies. I've seen like almost all of the Saw movies. But yeah, I mean, I was fine with those.
I kind of like the idea that if the trailer's not ready, it's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. And it sort of gets away from the internet dissecting everything and complaining because like, oh, these effects shots clearly aren't done.
Yeah.
I hope it's not going to look like this in the movie. Yeah, man, just hold back. I don't care.
If anything, I'm really hoping it is maybe part of the learning curve for WB, who is incidentally a company that's been around for the better part of 100 years making movies and should maybe be past some of the learning curve, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I still deeply wish they did a lot of things differently. Like, all of us hated the second Batman vs Superman trailer. Like, it was weird. The reveal about how a huge part of the movie was going to turn out was strange.
Yeah.
It was just borderline universally reviled, almost. Like, none of us thought that was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're learning. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they're thinking more about, like, hey, it's a good con, shove a trailer in there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe they're learning that the traditional ideas of marketing aren't as important anymore. Because it used to matter. Like, it used to matter that, like, there's a lot of bodies here. Get something in front of them. Because a lot of people there that were excited would spread the excited news. But it doesn't work that way anymore. You leave it there and somebody gets it on their cell phone because they're gonna. And that gets out. And maybe everyone in that room loved it because they were hyped and they were there and they were the kind of people who were predisposed to love it. But then the internet gets a hold of it and it's a shitty cell phone video of a shitty fucking trailer that you didn't put enough thought into. And next thing you know, the whole internet is predisposed to hate your movie.
Mm-hmm.
These things happen now.
But to be fair, it happens no matter what you do. Like, if you don't give enough info, they get pissed. If you put out, picture of Doomsday, they get pissed.
I know.
You don't show the Venom symbiote, they get pissed.
I understand. I understand. But I am still a big fan of the whole, like, better to stay silent and be thought an idiot than open your mouth and prove them right kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you got this strange phenomenon on social media where, like, if you post a video of something funny, you need to put, like, a little tag up at the top with, like, on the top and bottom of the video that has the punchline in it and, like, a bunch of laughing emojis to make sure everyone knows that, oh, this is the punchline and this is why, and this is funny.
Right.
So that they'll actually watch the video. Like, that actually does increase the amount of people who will watch it. And I'm flabbergasted by it. I'm like, why are you even watching it? You know what the joke is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I actually have a theory about that, but it would take a while. Like, the short version is because the new way we express ourselves, which is, a bunch of GIFs. That's how I say it, so deal with it. Bunch of GIFs, bunch of keyboard-based
emojis.
thoughts, bunch of emojis. That's the way you express yourself. Like, I think if you give people the context... Like, you post a video and you put that emoji of, like, emoji crying, laughing kind of thing. Then you put it in the context of, this is hilarious. So it comes down to contextualization in a lot of ways. You don't have to question whether this is a reliable narrator. You just, you know what the narrator was thinking. So you know how to read the book. And in this case,
know how to take it.
Yeah. It's giving you the context in which to take the 140 characters you're about to see, or the GIF or whatever freaking dog meme you're about to see.
The weird thing is, though, is like I've also seen, like, in the last 10 years, like, a huge spike in a behavior I don't quite understand. It's like people who will say, like, well, if you're like saying, hey, you should watch this video, or you should watch this movie, you should watch this television show, how does it end? Oh, you don't want to know how it... What do you mean? How does it end? Like, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. Like, but if it's sad, I don't want to watch it. If it's you're like, oh, you should watch this. Like, and they see the dog on the cover. Does the dog die?
Oh, I've got a perfect one for that. Oh God! Now that I've said it in that context, I'm going to be like a spoiler for somebody, but I may be saving you as well. So, I'm sorry. You've already been able to extrapolate it as I mentioned this property, and I'm sorry in advance. But my wife won't watch This Is Us anymore.
Okay.
Because she knows one of the things that happened. And, like, there was a Super Bowl episode that was a hype episode, kind of. And then, if I understand, there was, like, after the Super Bowl, and not directly, it was, like, the week after, I think. Super Bowl episode that was the, I think, season finale? Not sure.
Right.
But she read the recap and cried and said, I'm not watching the show anymore.
Yeah. Didn't we talk about this?
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, we could have.
But it's a weird thing. It's a weird phenomenon that I've seen, like, more and more. Is like, I feel like people are, like, too sensitive with their entertainment. Like, they can't handle something bad happening in a property. Like, they're like, I can't watch it if something sad happens. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I was a little kid. I'm not scarred by watching Little House on the Prairie because sad shit happened on that show all the time.
I don't know. Like, on the other hand, like, I watched The Good Son at a very young age and still freak out a little bit when I see Macaulay Culkin. I don't know. These things affect you in certain ways.
Yeah.
It can get to you.
Was the Good Son was what? It's like Home Alone, but for real. You know?
But, like, what if I'm alone because I dropped my brother off a cliff?
Yeah. Like, what if he used his ability to, like, basically create a life-size mousetrap? What if he did all this for real people?
Yeah.
The precursor to we have to talk about Kevin.
I would like to think that the screenwriter for The Good Son was like, what if we took all the dark aspects about how this child was left in the home and everyone checked into the plane and no one checked on this name? What if we just took that to its absurd extent? That would be fun. But yeah, I don't know, man. Certain properties scare you in a certain way that, like, you can't go back from. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. I can get certain things, but just to the point where, like, no, you're going to have to tell me everything that this character goes through. Like, I've watched the first 2 episodes. I've decided I like this character, so if this person dies, I'm not going to watch any more of the show.
I did that recently. I really did.
I don't get it, man.
I think it was, I think the name of it was Preaching the End of the World. No, that was the Steve Carell movie.
No, that's Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
That was singing. Oh, yeah, that was based on, well, I keep thinking it was based on the Chris Cornell song, but I never looked it up. Because he had, like, track 3 on Euphoria Morning was, like, Preaching the End of the World, and it was like, I'm seeking a friend for the end of the world. Anyway, there was a TV show recently that, it was, well, coincidentally, Jenna Fisher was one of the characters, and a couple of British dudes I don't know, and, what's his name? I can't remember. But, not Greg Kinnear, but the guy who reminds me of Greg Kinnear sometimes.
Oh, well, that should clear it right up for the listeners.
Obviously.
The guy that reminds Jason of Greg Kinnear.
Oh, Rob Lowe. I don't know why. Don't know why
What?
he reminds me of Greg Kinnear every now and then. I think it's his hair.
I can kind of see it. Nah, it's his mouth. it's his mouth and nose region. I can see it.
But Rob Lowe is the best. It's an end of the world show, and it's actually really interesting. And, like, Rob Lowe plays this amazing character. Anyway, long story short, something happens in the series, and I disagreed with it so thoroughly that I think there was one more episode in season 1, and I just went, oh, no, hell no. I'm not doing that. I'm out. There is no way you can make this interesting to me. You've removed a couple of the elements that were the best things. I feel like I'm trying to stay not spoilery for a thing that I'm not even reviewing, but whatever.
All right. I've lost track of what we're
Just
talking
completely
about.
willing to bail on that. Anyway, I don't know either. What's the next news item? Where are we here?
We're going to move on to Shazam.
Fantastic.
Zachary Levi has shushed the haters. The people who've been poking fun at him, saying that he has fake muscles in the Shazam costume. He posted a tweet that says, so much padding, with a little emoji rolling his eyes, and then said, hashtag fake news, hashtag fake muscles, hashtag fake weights, hashtag fake chicken and broccoli, and a link to a tweet by Eric Blackman, his trainer, that has posted a picture of Zachary just flexing his arms and looking swole as hell. And it says, just got done lifting things and putting them down with Zachary Levi and JPJ Campbell. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. He's swole.
he is for real swole. I mean, that's like the first thing he said when he got the role. It was like, oh my god, I got the role of Shazam. I'll be in the gym forever. Don't disturb me.
Right.
That's where I live now. Please don't get in my way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is. I don't know what this is, but people are freaking out about it, so I thought I'd mention it. People think there might be a Black Adam Superman film in the works. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's producing partner, Danny Garcia, posted a picture recently of herself conversing with Henry Cavill, and they're both ensconced in shadows, and she writes, "Who is this man? What are we saying? What are we planning? Oh, it's good. You'll thank me later. Winky emoji." Mm-hmm. Now, Garcia is a co-founder on Seven Bucks Productions with Johnson. They collaborate and have producer credits on a lot of The Rock's films. So a lot of people are freaking out, and they think this is some kind of confirmation that the long hinted at Black Adam Superman throwdown might be closer to happening. But it should be noted that Cavill is also represented by Garcia Companies, and she personally is his manager. So they could literally be talking about anything. Man of Steel 2, something non-DC. It really could be anything. So keep it in your pants. Who knows?
The other man from Uncle.
Oh, no. Please, no. The other man
you don't
from
know.
Uncle.
The woman from Ant.
The man who...
I don't know.
The man who knew to Uncle. It's a crossover film.
It's just really all of us in junior high with a bully. You just admit defeat, live to fight another day.
Right. All right, now we're going to jump back in time here, guys. We're going to jump back to the Suicide Squad a little bit. I thought this was cool. We all saw the shots of, tuxedoed Jared Leto with half his face soot-covered and charred. They were all over the trailers, but they were nowhere to be found in the actual film. A fan on Twitter posted that she was still waiting for an explanation, and David Ayer writes, I feel like every time I say somebody writes, it should be like the Casey Kasem, and he writes.
Yeah.
So Ayer writes, after Joker dropped Harley Quinn from the helicopter and crashed, Enchantress made a deal with him. He was going to take Harley home and be king of Gotham. Harley stood up to him and refused to betray her new friends. The squad then turned on Joker and he escaped. I think that's worthy of news.
Makes sense to me.
We finally know what the hell was up with Two-Faced Joker.
Absolutely.
All right.
And it's also nice to know that, like, for sure it wasn't just... there were a lot of people that said, like, oh, he's clearly damaged. Like, that was irreparable. Like, when you say Two-Faced Joker, there were people that thought, this has changed the Joker forever. No. He just ruined his tux a little bit and needed a bath.
No. A metal grill and tattoos changed the Joker forever.
Yeah.
Though I don't think I've seen that iteration pop up in the comics, so...
I haven't yet. I'm actually
Maybe
wondering,
not.
there will be someone who adopts it. You know that. Like, it's going to be a matter of time.
Well...
But I'm curious.
They kind of grabbed some stuff from, like, from the Lieber Mayhew, Brian Azzarello Joker series, and they grabbed a little from the All-Star Batman and Robin that Miller did with Jim Lee.
Yeah.
That's where the tattoo comes from. But it hasn't stuck.
Like, the story itself, out of Suicide Squad even, it feels like they took the most from the Joker. Like, that story.
Uh-huh.
That novel. Like,
Yeah.
just the brutal crime lord kind of thing.
When Ledger came out, when the Ledger Joker came out from Dark Knight, all the comics kind of drew him and wrote him a little more like Ledger for a few months at least.
Yeah. I feel like everyone has the
like, "Oh, this is
phrase
a cool
dog
take."
chasing cars in the back of their head since that happened. Oh, I ran into a guy recently that we've talked about the movies for a while, but he didn't see Justice League in theaters, and I was like, I get it, but you're part of the problem. He was like, I know, I'm sorry. But like, he finally got to see Justice League, and there was all that. And we went back and talked about the canon, and part of what he expressed was like, I was really excited about Jared Leto, but like, because he's great. He's a great actor, and then and I saw his version, and I kind of thought, like, it's a nice take, but that poor bastard followed Heath Ledger. I was like, man, there are so many of you. Like, it's not even an unfair thought. There's just that's not a right or wrong thought, man. I mean, it's a hard thing to follow.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's just the problem with the DC fandom. Like, I can never truly get over Mark Hamill. I just can't. Like, when I was a kid, I was like, how are they ever going to do Joker after Nicholson again?
Right.
And then Hamill came out, and I was like, who's Nicholson? Like, Hamill is the end-all, be-all. And as far as I'm concerned, he's never been one-up.
Yeah.
Like, he can, like, you're like, oh, that shit's for kids. You did it for an animated show. Screw you. Watch any of the video games. Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. That ain't for kids. Hamill killed it. Crushed it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the reality a lot of us are stuck in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to accept new things. I'm not saying it ain't hard.
Yeah. Oh, it can be hard. I like to think that I enjoy the new things, but I mean, sometimes they don't just hit. They really just it drags. I don't know.
It reminds me of Scotty talking to Picard in that episode of Next Generation,
Mm-hmm.
where he was talking about the Enterprise being his first love. And he's like, "You never love a woman quite like that again."
It sounds silly, but there's a level on which we all kind of understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
It really is. It can be your first computer, your first car, your first guitar. I don't know. Anything.
Yeah. Well, he didn't say more or less. He just said quite like that. But anyway, time for listener feedback. And the first feedback comes from our friend Christopher White. He doesn't say his name in the voicemail. I know who it is. I talked to him on the phone. We're friends. This dude may have been the first person to ever download an episode of the show, for all we know. But he was the first person that said anything to us about it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to think about now. We're like, who is this guy? It's this dude named Christopher White. What's this guy about? And now he's our friend.
And what would life have been like if it was Christopher Dark?
Christopher Black.
God only knows.
What if he called himself Topher? Would we have been friends with him?
Oh, poor guy. Play his thing.
All right, here you go.
Hey Dave, hey Jason, just got done listening to the show. I really liked what you guys were talking about with the whole Jack Kirby thing and the New Gods. Like, I definitely want to get more into that. Like, you guys have intrigued me, but something you guys may not have known is that it wasn't so much that Jack Kirby just got tired of Marvel and wanted to jump over to DC. Like, what had actually happened is he wanted to, like, kill off Thor and a bunch of other the Asgardian characters and start this, like, fourth world that he did over at DC and essentially replace Thor, Loden, Oki, all them characters with the New Gods. And Marvel's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Like, you know, Thor's one of our flagship characters. We're not going to do that. So Jack Kirby got kind of pissed and was like, well, this is something I'm really passionate about. I really want to do. And he left, and he went to DC, and they were all about it. They're like, yeah, do it. Let's, you know, see what can happen. So if Jack Kirby would have had, you know, his way, you know, we might be looking at another Marvel film right now, but, you know, something that could potentially reinvigorate the DC universe, and like you guys are saying, maybe be DC's, like, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty excited about it. And I can't credit myself with this information, but I did look into it after seeing the YouTube video on a channel called Emergency Awesome, which Dave, I think you turned me on to, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you for that, because that keeps me pretty well updated. You know, whatever you guys don't cover. So keep up the good work, loving the show, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right, Chris, man. Thank you for the voicemail. He also sent another voicemail, but there was some sort of weird audio problems on it. But yeah, we did know about, or I knew. I don't know if you knew. We didn't really ever talk about it, but yeah, I am aware that that Kirby wanted to, you know, kill off a bunch of the Asgardians and create the New Gods over there. I didn't really feel like getting into all that on the show. Honestly, that's all it really boiled down to.
I only vaguely knew there were some, like, editorial concerns that he felt inhibited by. That was the extent.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't blame Marvel, honestly. Like, Jack was the king, but, I mean, it would have been weird if we didn't have Thor now, you know?
Well, now it would seem weird, but at the time...
I mean, it was ballsy and it would have been cool, but...
Well, at the time, I would have to look at the sales to be sure. But there are times where Thor has been, like, almost one of those things they scrapped.
Uh-huh.
Like,
it has.
It's
I
not
don't
an
think
A
it was
property.
at the time.
But knowing Jack
Well, I mean,
Kirby,
you know,
that would be something he would really enjoy, is like taking an A property that is connected to a universe that isn't necessarily an A property by itself and trashing that thing and starting anew. Like, I feel like that would appeal to someone like Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great starting point. We can take this one thing and turn it into fertilizer and start something completely new, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, I personally think the best thing happened for everyone. Like, I love looking at something like Thor Ragnarok and seeing, you know, a lot of the Kirby designs integrated into the backgrounds. I love being able to look at a Marvel comic and see Kirby designs and see, like, because people are still emulating that. People are still putting those designs into the backgrounds, into the designs of the characters, into the designs of that world, and be able to just kind of chuckle and be like, I'm pretty sure I saw that same chair in Fantastic Four. like I love being able, like, it's that connective tissue between both universes where I'm like, you know, you can be a Marvel fan and shit on DC or vice versa, but I mean, at the end of the day, something you love came from
one or the other.
From both. Yeah, like, I mean, if we're talking about creators being gods here, it's like a god moved over from one universe to another, and just like, I mean, where would DC be without Darkseid? Like, he's the biggest bad guy of all the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
even if
literally
you're not
how I
into New
described
God
it
stuff
to my wife. Like, I bought us tickets for Infinity War, and just kind of told her after the fact, and then I had to go back and explain, like, why Thanos was a big deal, and then give the analog. Like, I literally had to translate it because I dragged her to a bunch of DC films, but basically I was like, okay, well, this is a big guy, and okay, do you remember seeing Justice League? Okay, so that was this guy, and he is derivative of this guy, and okay, so his analog is this guy. Yeah, it just eventually I literally said the sentence, okay, the DC's biggest bad is this guy. All right, so let's go see a movie about this guy, and it's gonna
who's a ripoff.
It's gonna be similar in power to this guy. So, like, imagine this guy, and then the other big guy that I'm describing, and then this other big.
I think I might have just said, oh, Captain America or Iron Man might die.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I don't know.
Bunch of people are going to die. I don't know. You want to go see it? Oh, I also did warn her, like, okay, I'm going to cry at some point in this film. Just warning you.
Yeah, probably.
Just warning you. Probably going to cry. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
But yeah, Christopher White also mentioned Emergency Awesome. I did recommend that to him. I do recommend Emergency Awesome. I like Charlie Schneider. That dude's got massive views, much bigger than we are.
They do come in handy.
Yeah, if you need a quick tutorial on something, if you need a quick lowdown on, some obscure ass character that's coming up in one of the books or something, or one of the movies or whatever, he's pretty well got you covered. Yeah. Even though I didn't see that video that he's talking about.
No, but
I I don't actually, doing this podcast, I don't have a lot of time for anything outside of DC news. So, like, occasionally I'll pop over and see what Charlie's got up and be like, wait, they're doing what on Marvel? Or what? Doctor Who's doing what now? So yeah. That keeps me up to date. But yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for leaving us a voicemail. Rick's Story over on Twitter, Old Man Rick 68 says, great cast this week, by the way. I'm with Jason on his lack of F's given for the New Gods. It feels like something WB would move on, though. It's a bad idea, after all. Let's ignore all those other incredible characters we have. She asked for the New Gods. Well, we don't know that she asked for the New Gods. Apparently they have some desire to do the New Gods, or they wouldn't be developing it.
I definitely wouldn't say, like, she asked. It's been in development for a while. I mean, BVS had the Omega symbol in it. Yeah,
but that was more of I think that was setting up Justice League 2.
I know,
honestly.
But still,
I don't think it was setting up a New Gods.
And it's the kind of,
well, I mean, you have to,
it's like
as I just said,
the Chekhov
like,
gun. Like, you can't bring it up.
Yeah, but if if you're gonna do, like, high stakes DC movies, you got to bring in the New Gods.
You do.
There's nothing else really, unless you want to start pulling out Atrocitus and the Red Lanterns or some shit.
Yeah, I know.
Which isn't a bad idea, DC.
It's not.
It's not
but
a bad
it very
idea.
quickly becomes a Green Lantern property. Like, if you want,
Did you see that clip of the Teen Titans go to the movies where they were like, because they're trying to get a movie of their own, and they talk to Green Lantern. They're like, "Hey, Green Lantern, is there a movie about you coming up?" He's like, "There was a Green Lantern movie, but we don't talk about that."
that is soft. No, for real. Like you've got. I mean, you can't mention it without doing it. You just can't. Mm-hmm. You can't raise the stakes to that level and not follow through. So, like, if it was a Batman movie and the entire movie was about the Penguin, I'd be wondering about the Joker. If it was a Superman movie and it was Toyman, I'd be wondering about Lex Luthor. Like, it's you have to eventually get to that point where this is the biggest badass we have to throw at you, and damn it, it's Darkseid. Mm-hmm. So, as soon as you mentioned it to me, like as soon as I saw that Omega symbol, I would have felt betrayed if they had gone another way.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that it was Steppenwolf in this movie, like we all knew the signs, we all saw it. Like there was that scene with Lex Luthor in the bath, whatever. We all knew
in the bath.
Yeah, the stupid shit bath thing. Like we all knew that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we all knew what was coming. What? The waiting pool of Genesis. I don't know what the hell they call that thing.
I was thinking like the Bridges of Madison Luthor or something. I was like, what bath scene?
I would love to see that thing. Oh, Steppenwolf asking for like, do you have any kind of like pink Himalayan bath salts? I would love anything eucalyptus. Eucalyptus would be fantastic. Anyway.
Why does he sound like Dr. Evil and Bane?
I don't know.
Oh, do you have eucalyptus?
Because that's what he would sound like in that version. Because apparently I'm doing an absurd Aqua Teen impression.
Uh-huh.
But like once you introduced all these people, you had to go that far. You just had to. I'm holding you against that, like as a standard now.
Uh-huh.
So it's your responsibility.
I hope. I am interested in seeing a New Gods movie. I hope that a New Gods movie is, I hope it's hugely successful. I hope it's really good, and I hope it lays down some foundation. I hope this means WB said, "Oh, you didn't think Steppenwolf had like any kind of real backstory? Well, how about this? We're gonna make a New Gods movie. It's gonna give you backstory for all these assholes, and then when we pop back in with Justice League 2, it's gonna be badass."
Yeah.
Hopefully that's what
That'd
that
be
means.
Fantastic.
I hope and pray that that's what they're thinking.
Like I would love to see a Justice League 2 with seasoned Barry and a new Green Lantern and a Shazam we just let out. Like that would be fantastic.
I want all the Green Lanterns. Give me Guy Gardner even. I've said it before. Everyone's arguing about like, oh, it should be Jon Stewart because he was in the cartoon. Oh no, it should be Hal Jordan because he was the first. And I'm thinking no, Alan Scott was, but whatever.
Yeah, he was.
I want to see Alan Scott. I want to see Jade. I want to see Hal Jordan. I want to see Kyle. Rayner. I want to see. I love Kyle. Screw it. Let's just do an Ion movie.
Yeah, that would make me pretty happy. Like I would love a Justice League 2 where Kyle has become like Ion to actually fix it. That would be fine.
I want Affleck to stick around long enough to punch Guy Gardner in the face. That's what I want.
One punch. Yeah.
Anyway, I want a lot of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, Randy over on Twitter, Randy SF45, says, I want a Mr. Miracle movie or Martian Manhunter. I guess MM means Martian Manhunter in the next Justice League.
Oh, God, it's got to be MM. Like, it's got to be Martian.
I mean, I would, maybe it means Mr. Miracle in the next Justice League. I would take Mr. Miracle in the next Justice League movie. I would take a Mr. Miracle movie. Let's do Big Barda and Mr. Miracle as like a Bonnie and Clyde type of thing.
In the New Gods movie. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I dig that.
Surely he's talking about Martian, though, in the Justice League context.
I don't know. Well, he says a Mr. Miracle movie or MM in the next Justice League. He could mean Mr. Miracle. I'd be okay with any of it. I'm good with any of it. Let's just do it. I dig it, man.
Yeah.
You know, like I've often said, like in the Justice League movie, I don't need the big seven. I don't need Martian Manhunter, Batman, Superman, maybe Batman, but
you gotta have Batman, man.
I love the Keith Giffen run on Justice League. I love the Justice League International. I love Booster, Blue Beetle, Black Canary, all those cats.
Oh, there's so many versions.
I would love a more comedic version of the Justice League. I think I might be mostly alone in that, based on how much people hated what they referred to as Justice League. But what are these stupid jokes? This is DC. Harsh. Come on. Who, me or them?
That judgment. Yeah. No, I've got
judgment
you back.
or their judgment?
Their judgment. I've got you back.
But then, you know, I'm one of these that I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. Both of them. I liked Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was funny.
Yes.
Some of it some of it was a little much, but mostly I enjoyed a laugh. I enjoy the laughing. Laughing is a good thing.
Laughing is generally considered to be a thing that makes humans happy. And yet, every now and then you get backlash for making someone laugh.
I know.
It's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah. But anyway, I understand some people just thought it was a lot and too much. So whatever. I'm sorry. And I do want to see the Snyder cut. So, you know, like I said, I want it all. I'm a greedy bastard. DC Cinematic Minute, our friends over on the DCEU Minute. It's a fun podcast that I was a part of for a minute. I got to come in and do a week's worth of episodes. They asked us last week, and I didn't see it in time, but they asked us last week, what should the title of the New Gods film be? I mean, as much as I would like the Forever People, I think it just needs to be New Gods. I just think it needs to be New Gods or the Fourth World, something like that. What do you think? Maybe Forever People should be like the sequel, like like just the New Gods, and we got to get it like an introduction of like the biggest guys, the biggest people. You get like your Big Barda and your Mr. Miracle, and you know, maybe like 5 minutes of Forager,
Yeah.
That you like Metron and everybody. And Darkseid and Desaad and all those cats, Granny Goodness, because, I'm not going to be happy unless there's a version of Granny Goodness of the Furies. It might be awful, but let's not Goyer it at like, some things don't exist.
Yeah.
But, and then, do like a sequel, New Gods, the Forever People. Like, oh, that would be badass.
I wouldn't argue with that. I don't know what, oh God, I don't know what I would moniker that to actually make myself happy. Mm-hmm. I really don't. It's one of those sets of properties almost where like I'm just gonna have to see what you got.
I don't know, man. All right, guys.
It's gonna end up being like New Gods v Superman.
See, I don't even think they need to go there. Like the New Gods movie should be the New Gods movies, and then they bring in the New Gods into the next Justice League movie, or
NGV jail.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, guys, thank you for replying and commenting and sending us voicemails and stuff. We're going to jump over to the DC TV section of the show. If you're not going to pop over with us, you can check out every episode for free at DCOnscreen.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram at DCOnscreen. We're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group. It says it's closed, but if you click join, we'll review the things, and we're most likely going to let you in. And so let's jump into some TV here. Constantine. We're going to talk about Constantine: City of Demons just for a minute. The continuity,
sure,
because we did a review, and when we watched this thing, pretty much most of our review, I think, was easily summed up into what the hell.
Yes,
because they started out like they haven't given us a whole lot of information about what's happening with this show. They're like, Matt Ryan's Constantine is back. And, we know that he was in Justice League Dark and it was a different version, but I thought, based on the, like the Blue Ribbon stuff, based on the fact that it was, that they had Vixen and they had the Ray and it was all tied into the Arrowverse, that it was still going to be, the NBC Constantine, and right out of the gate, they're just changing shit up.
Yeah.
So we were very much like, what is going on? Well, apparently we weren't the only ones. And like a day after we put out our episode, there was all this stuff. And like Scott from the Suicide Squad cast messaged me and said, "Hey man, did you ever actually get any answers about Constantine?" I said, "Well, I found this article and kind of gives us some information." And he was like, "Oh man, you got to go check out what J.M. DeMatteis is saying over on Twitter." So here's what's happened. Over at WonderCon, Peter Girardi, the Warner Brothers exec, in charge of all that stuff, says that this is something we see as launching this corner of the Constantine animated universe, and says that it is an animated adventure that is closer to Justice League Dark. J.M. DeMatteis says, "I was told by CWC's Peter Girardi that the animated series and the City of Demons and Justice League Dark animated movie are in the same universe. And as far as when the final 7 will be released, J.M. DeMatteis says between the first 5 and the final 7 episodes, there will be a full-length DVD release of City of Demons with 20 or so extra minutes of story. So you can see the whole thing and more before the final episode arrives on CW Seed." So that puts my mind at ease, but it also makes me proclaim this: I'm not doing another review episode of any CW Seed show until the DVD comes out.
Nope.
Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Because they took the first 2 seasons of Vixen and they put like 20 extra minutes in it and put it out on Blu-ray, and I wound up buying that.
No.
And then I kind of feel like, well, we didn't even really review it. Because we reviewed the CW Seed shit.
Right.
And I'm assuming they're going to come out with a Blu-ray of The Ray. That'll probably have the rest of the series on it before it hits CW Seed. I think that's what's going to happen from now on, guys. That's
one of the problems. Is like, it probably, but we'll have to see. And man, like they're fucking with us. It's annoying.
Yeah. And I have no problem with Constantine City of Demons being part of the Justice League Dark universe. I just wish they'd been upfront about it. I feel like
that's
they thought,
you know what? Problem
I feel like they said, well, if we don't say that it's not a part of NBC's Constantine, that the NBC Constantine people will want to watch it, and we'll get more views. I feel like it was all a lie on purpose. Like they didn't really tell us what the hell was going on. I feel like that's what happened.
Well, I also feel like they weren't deliberate. Like they said, like Pedro said at some point, "We're happy to have Matt Ryan reprise his role." Great. But that doesn't necessarily indicate NBC. And honestly, I looked at the press releases. They didn't really say anything that contradicts what we saw. Mm-hmm. Technically, but in spirit, it's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really annoying, man. Like they kept saying like, yeah, we're going to continue the character and all that, but in effect, what really happened was they told us we've got Matt Ryan and it's going to be great, and we're so happy to have him on the CW, and then. Mm-hmm. By the way, we have this animated series that's going to run with him, and it's going to be great. And then they said, like, we don't know if he'll return again, and all this. But all of that kept indicating we have a storyline for him that includes his series. And then when you watch him live, like, as he's on Legends, as he's on Arrow even, it's just, it feels like it's continuing the story that you're familiar with from the live action Matt Ryan. And then this comes out and it's really frustrating. But the one major thing that makes me happy about it is the one thing that would make me okay with it is that it was part of Justice League Dark and not necessarily the NBC series.
Yeah. And I'm over here going like, are they like retconning? Can they not use certain elements of the NBC series? Does like the NBC series have certain versions of those characters that they can't really do that, sort of like a Evil Dead 2 type of situation?
Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of like legalistic stuff that might be limiting them that maybe we know about.
But then it's confusing because I'm over on Legends and Bailey Tippin is reprising her role as Astra, like doing her voice in Constantine's head, and I'm like, come on, guys, give me something. Let me know what's happening. But yeah, so that's what's happening.
Yourselves. I don't know.
It's part of the Justice League Dark universe. So, all right. So over to Krypton. The Krypton producers were asked about a possible appearance from the Green Lanterns at WonderCon. Showrunner Cameron Welsh responded, "That's something that would be a natural fit for us." DC Entertainment VP Dan Evans basically hinted that the Omega Men would probably show up before the Green Lanterns. And also Kyle Rayner is a part of that, so that might be interesting.
Nice.
But, yeah, they said DC isn't just Earth, it isn't just Metropolis or Gotham. The DC universe is huge, it's multiple universes. They said the show would open the door to other parts of the DC universe, allowing them to bring in characters that may or may not, that you may not see in the other show that will fit comfortably here. And maybe some different versions of characters you're used to, he says. That tracks with what they were saying earlier, and that sounds great. I don't want too much of that unless it's integral to the story. Like, if we get 10 episodes, like, I really want them to be focused on telling a good story rather than, making fanboys squee with, crossover people. Mm-hmm. But they also said there's apparently not going to be a crossover with the CW on Krypton. They did say that they'll go to present day Earth in this season and see where Adam came from, Detroit.
Sure.
They also didn't rule out that there might be some version of Superman, but that we probably shouldn't expect to see like Tyler Hoechlin or anything. Like, it's not part of any other universe. Krypton is its own thing.
I really don't
I'm good
want
with.
it to be. I'm fine with that.
I don't either. I'm good with it. Gotham wrapped season 4. David Mazouz said that they have wrapped season 4. He says in some ways these 4 years feel like they should be 10, and in others it feels like the experience has taken 2 weeks. All I know is I am so crazy proud of what we have done on Gotham. I'm so happy I was blessed enough to be a part of this large supervillain hero family. This show has seen me through my most formative years yet, my adolescence thus far, and has shaped a, Batman, so incredibly overjoyed with his past, but also vigilantly ready for what is to come. Thank you, everyone who has contributed to this project and experience transforming my life in this beyond positive way. And whether or not this is the end of Gotham's road, I love you all, and these characters and what they represent will live forever on Netflix and Hulu, and in our minds and hearts. I know that was cheesy, but it is true. And he sounds kind of finalistic here, but Gotham is still in the bubble. It hasn't been renewed for season 5. So I get the feeling that we might get a little bit more of that from the cast in the days to come.
Yeah, I still think they might be. I'd vote they renewed.
I don't know, man. When what's her face Rowan over on Girl Meets World started saying shit like that on Instagram, I went, "Oh, it's not getting renewed, is it?"
I know, but like I've seen them move the show from night to night, and it's kept really similar rating. Like
yeah.
I think it might come back. Maybe
All
not
right. Well,
the night you're expecting it, but if you're just watching it on streaming, you'll be fine anyway.
Well, I've mostly caught up on Gotham. Like, I don't know how far behind you are.
Not at all.
You're not far behind at all?
No, I mean, not at all behind. I watched everything last night.
Oh, okay. Dude, like, Bruce's, like, fever dreams, or, like, Batman is, like, just running after him in the cave and shit, and then, like, I am the one you can't kill. Oh, yes!
All of the goddamn yes.
I loved all of that stuff, man. like he comes out of it, like Gordon saves him, and he's like, "You had a mustache."
Yes. Yeah. That was fantastic. There's. This is gonna be like the great. It's gonna be the great lost cause of the show. Is like they've finally opened up a lot of the playbook about him turning into Batman, and maybe we never get to see it. But I keep hoping that, especially like him posting stuff, maybe we get to see something close to it, and we can have some closure for the show.
Well, I kind of get the feeling that they are preparing.
Either way,
and there was some other news. There was some news that I'm not going to talk about. I saw it. I giggled. It confirmed some things that I talked about, I think, last week on the show that I said I wasn't going to talk about. But I could very much see how they might be actually crafting an end to the series without knowing if they're going to be renewed or not. If that makes sense.
It does. It does. You have a universe where they're building Bruce in a way that like he sees kind of literally Batman hanging out and like that alter ego in his brain And in the same series, you've got Proto-Joker, who we all know is, but isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this could easily end on some kind of note where, yeah, we all know where they all end up, but there's room for another season.
At this point, I wouldn't cry if they got canceled. I wouldn't be like terribly upset. Unless they don't have an ending. Like, if they couldn't scoop together an ending enough, I would be really disappointed. Like, if they end this on a cliffhanger, I'm going to be pissed.
Gotham's one of those shows that, like, if you ask me week to week, some weeks I wish it ended, some weeks I didn't.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I would like for it to have a good ending. I'm going to get it on Blu-ray anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Might as well have a good ending.
Right now, it's doing pretty well. I kind of hope it doesn't end.
I mean, there's a reason that, Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman, just kind of hangs out in my save for later list on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because I know that shit ends on a cliffhanger. So, yeah, I would like an ending for Gotham, but I don't necessarily need it to... If they scrape it together and make a good ending this season, all right, see you later. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. Anyway, Death of Superman. They've released, they've announced the movie cast. Jerry O'Connell's coming back to play Superman. His wife Rebecca Romaine is going to be Lois Lane. Rainn Wilson is Lex Luthor. That's an inspired choice, and I'm
really excited.
Looking forward to hearing that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Jason O'Mara is back as Batman. Rosario Dawson as Wonder Woman. Matt Lanter as Aquaman. Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern. Christopher Gorham as the Flash, and Shamar Moore as Cyborg. Apparently, it also has Rocky Carroll as Cyborg's father, Silas Stone. Better Call Saul's Patrick Fabian.
Better Call Raw.
Better Call Raw. Yeah. Patrick Fabian, I guess. Fabian as Hank Henshaw.
Sure.
And they're saying Henshaw is more part of the Reign of the Superman storyline, along with Superboy still in the Eradicator. And they haven't actually said who those three actors are yet. But they put out a trailer for Death of Superman, the first part of it, and unfortunately, I was bored by it. I didn't really like. I was actually taken aback. Like, I was super excited for this animated film because I thought it was going to be more in line with The Dark Knight Returns. Honestly, like, I thought, like, oh shit, it's going to look like the 90s. Mm-hmm. It's going to look like, I was really hoping that they would do something that looked a lot more like animated Dan Jurgens art. Like, I wanted it to be outside of the DC animated films continuity.
No,
and I understand
exactly
why.
like theirs.
Yeah, it's the war continuity. It's the Justice League war continuity.
Yeah.
It comes after Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. I really wanted a 90s standalone story. I wanted it to look like Dan Jurgens. That's just what I wanted, and as fans, this is what we preach. This is, you gotta get past what you wanted and just give it what it is for what it, give it
a chance, but it's
fair due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it stand, judge it then.
Right. I am not that interested in Doomsday though. I've never have been. Like, the thing that excited me about it was it looking like the old school stuff, and kind of like reliving that in animated form.
Sure. The only thing that interested me about that character is like and they bring it up in this little section, is you can't reason with it, that kind of thing.
Right.
It wants only one thing, to destroy. Like, that's nice when you put it up against a character that's so powerful that he can defend an entire planet and juggle planets and other continuities. Like, that's nice, but he put up against the idea of complete chaos, someone who can destroy a planet by himself and wants only that thing. Like, that is a nice... I like that as a dialogue between characters. To me, it feels like Batman and Joker, but like distilled to this power dynamic.
Right.
Thing is, you can only follow that so long before the story starts to get a little boring.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, one of the more powerful things, one of the fun things and really powerful things about the books was like seeing Doomsday fighting and eviscerating, like just totaling out all of these, like Justice League International. Like, I wanted to see Fire and Ice. I wanted to see Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. I wanted to see all of those characters. And, it looks like they're not really going to be there. And
No.
You know,
No, you're
more
not
than
getting
seeing them fight Doomsday, I really like one of my favorite things about those books is seeing like all of those characters, like everyone just coming to Superman's funeral, like everyone gathering to say goodbye to Superman. Everyone from Batman to Booster Gold, from the most obvious to the most obscure, like everyone turns out to say goodbye to Superman. It just doesn't look like we're going to get any of that here because they're just like, we're not bringing all those people in, which is a bummer to me. Like, if like I really want to go on eBay and find all those posters that they used to put out in that came out in the comics for when Superman was about to die. Mm-hmm. It's just like they just did these like big poster ads that were just like that you got in the comic shops got that it's just like it's like the Superman coffin and just like every damn body of the DC universe gathered around. Like it's just like I love those posters. Anyway, moving over to some.
I appreciate it.
What?
I appreciate it, but like I literally missed all of that. And I caught a version of it where it was like I picked up a friend's thing at a sleepover and went, "Holy shit, Superman died!" And read it like front to back that night, and yeah, super bummed.
Yeah,
that was all I got. Was the actual like TPB of just Superman dying, and thought, "Oh, damn it, this is not. I don't love this at all."
Yeah, well. I mean, just like if they do Nightfall, I don't want them to do it in this continuity, though they probably will.
Yeah, I just wasn't informed. I didn't know. I just picked it up and went, "Oh, no. Damn it."
We got some listener feedback. Jordan Valdez of the Multiverse Musings podcast has a voicemail. It's been sitting on our drive for like 3 weeks. He has a voicemail about the mid-season premiere of Gotham, and we will play that now.
Hey, Dave and Jason, this is Jordan Valdez. I'm calling in about the Gotham mid-season premiere. I'm assuming you guys are going to do an episode on that, so I figured I'd call in because I loved it. Before I start on that, though, big congrats, David, on getting married. I want to make sure I mention that. That's awesome, dude. But yeah, talking about this mid-season finale, first of all, of course, I got to start off with that amazing Batcat scene. As much as I like the first half of the season of Gotham, it's been a bummer for me as a huge Batcat shipper that after last season, you know, when Bruce and Selena broke up, that we really didn't get much Batcat at all in the first half of the season. Based on some of the promotional materials, it looks like there's going to be a lot more of that in this second half of the season, and I can't wait. I love that. I love that scene we got of the two of them at the Sirens Club, and I like that Selena saw right through this sort of downward spiral that Bruce is going through, and I'm hoping that she's going to be the one who sort of lifts him out of this and gets his head back on straight as he's sort of, you know, going down this downward spiral. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. But anyway, I love that scene. It's got me really excited for what's to come. A lot of different storylines this episode that it dropped us right into, but I feel like just based on this episode, it feels like they're all sort of tying in together, which I liked. The animated series, the thing that made me a diehard Batman fan is the animated series, The Batman, actually. And so it was really cool this episode to see them use an original villain from that series, which is the toy maker in this episode. In the animated series, the Batman, his name was Cosmo Crank. And here we see, and his name's Crank here as well. They gave him a different first name. But anyway, him, the toy maker in this episode, it's awesome to see an original villain taken from the Batman. Last year we got it in the Lego Batman movie with the Kabuki twins. This year we get it in Gotham with the toy maker. And as a huge fan of that animated series, like I said, it's what made me a diehard Batman fan. That was awesome. The only real nitpick I had with this episode is that after I was so hyped about the Jerome tease at the end of the mid-season finale, it's kind of bummed that we didn't see that picked up on in this episode. But no big deal. I'm sure they'll get to it, and I can't wait for that. So I'm really excited about that as well. Overall, a great episode to start the second half of the season. Can't wait to see what's to come. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
All right. Mr. Valdez, thank you so much for the congratulations on the wedding. What are you about to say, Jason?
I feel like we should say, like, spoilers in retrospect.
Yeah, like spoilers in retrospect. For that old ass episode of Gotham now.
Yeah.
I always do though enjoy seeing Selena and Bruce interact on Gotham.
And what he was talking about culminated, like, my favorite spot is where he says, like, Bruce in a it's very commanding way. Yeah, like Selena just puts him in his place the entire time. Like he comes around, but it's not necessarily her doing, but she's definitely the voice of reason the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I had forgotten that that the toy maker had originated from the Batman.
Never saw the Batman. Had no idea who that guy was.
Yeah, I forgot that he originated from. I kind of remembered the character, and I remember that like most of not all of the toy maker, toy based villains kind of annoy me and bore me. But I think I would have been.
Come on, even the animated Toyman voiced by I think Weird Al.
Oh man. Now the Toyman from Superman the Animated Series was creepy. I was on board with him.
Yeah, that was like Superman the Animated Series has its faults, especially early on. It like there's a lot to come on to, but dear God, by the point that you're seeing that guy, oh my God, it's creepy and it's worth diving into.
I didn't think Superman the Animated Series had that much of a fault up front. I felt like
up front it was a little clunky. That's all. I mean, like the first 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, okay, but the inherent problem is Superman. Like, he's a hard character to write for.
Oh, sure.
For real. Like, it's hard to get him right.
It's hard to
or interesting.
Write anything that can do anything at any given moment. Yeah, sure. That's the overwhelming problem with writing that character. Mm-hmm. But you have to make him like relatable, and when he's being a dork, you have to be behind him, and when he's being, the greatest thing the universe has ever created, like the greatest hero of all time, you have to suddenly be behind him. But then when he's behind on a deadline and someone's yelling at him and Lois won't meet him for a drink after work, you have to be behind that too. It's hard. It's hard to get that right.
Yep. So anyway, I'd totally forgotten that character was whole cloth from the Batman.
Sure.
And I would have been less bored by him if Patton Oswalt had reprised his role on Gotham. But it is what it is. Brentech Prime over on Twitter says, I listened to DC on Screen's review of Krypton this morning, and now I have the John Williams Superman theme stuck in my head, and it won't leave. You're welcome.
Is that a complaint? I'm confused.
Yeah, I think I responded with something akin to, there is no greater gift to give, no pleasure greater to receive, or something.
I sent him Bill Murray saying you're welcome.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Randy SF45 on Twitter says, Krypton was everything I visually wanted from Inhumans. Yeah. I get that.
Yep.
Did you see that the comics are killing off the Inhumans now?
Oh, are they?
They're
really?
putting out a series called Death of the Inhumans.
Oh, that won't stick, but nice.
I mean, it might for a while.
It's a good call, though. Like, the Inhumans... Yeah, it's a good call. Like, that idea of the Inhumans has become so ensconced in the movie and TV versions. It might be a good idea to go through like a whole like Death of the Inhumans thing in the comic books form. Mm-hmm. That's a good call, actually. You can always bring it back.
Yeah, the show failed.
Yeah, it really did.
Who cares?
I watched every episode, man. I mean, there was something to love on that, but damn, that was not gonna stick.
Yeah. All right, Travis Hines, Travis_156. Talking about Krypton, says, we know Nyssa and Seg will not create Jor-El in the Genesis Chamber scene, so who do you think will? Money is on Lida, or Lida, whatever it was, forever linking the houses of El and Zod. I don't know. I don't think Lida will be the one, necessarily. I could see it, but, and I said this on Twitter, but I liked it. I wanted to see what your take on this was, because I think I would, as I said on Twitter, I would place real money on Seg using that Genesis chamber in the pilot to create Jor-El at the very end of the show. And at the very, the last scene or something, the computer tells the entire story of Jor-El. Mm-hmm. And the story that we know, and Seg, thanks to Adam Strange, knows. And I think that would be a great final episode moment. Or they could go the other way and have like a lesson about how computers can't predict everything from genetics, how like nurture overpowers nature at times. So we could have the computer predict all of this stuff, and Jor-El is completely mundane and never matters, and Seg would like watch it with the knowledge that his son would be so much more. Either way, I think that's a great last episode of Krypton.
That one's rough. Like, I think they hinted at it. The idea that like, that's his whole existence, I suppose. And then there's two subversives talking about that conversation. I think there's something dubious about that device.
Oh, sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
there's something that the show has to explore about the idea that we just put our thumbs on this and we know how our 80... actually, they said he lives for like 140 cycles or some shit. Like, it's what we would think is an absurd amount of time. Yeah, like, there... I don't know. I don't know. I feel like in some capacity, Sega's going to piss somebody off, and that's going to be the spawn. Because it has to be that way, right? Like, Seg has to piss somebody off, and somehow the spawn is going to be Jor-El.
Oh, what? Nah, I don't think that'll happen.
Oh, it's not his spawn. Sorry, not his spawn. But,
okay.
He's going to piss off the House of Zod. And it's going to be some deliberate... I feel like it's going to be some deliberate account where they try to cut out the House of El completely, because right now the story's intertwined, and I feel like it should be intertwined.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like something where they redeclare the House of El, persona non grata, and redo something, and then you have Zod. And
right.
Like, it has to culminate in either Jor-El being a natural birth, or it's got to be a situation where Jor-El thinks natural birth is the way to go.
Well, I don't think necessarily Jor-El has to be a natural birth. I don't. Like, I can understand.
Not necessarily, no.
I mean,
absolutely.
Right, but, there are plenty of iterations of the Superman backstory where Zod and El were friends. And they were contemporaries. They hung out. And, then their ideologies... brought them to blows, basically.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be Lyda being spurned. Well. Yeah. I could see Lyda being burned by somebody, by Seg, and like that, like setting the course for the Zods and the Els to be, it doesn't have to be where they were friends. Like, I'm down with either version. I don't care. I just, I personally thought I think the finale is going to have another scene, probably the culmination of DNAs creating Jor-El in the Genesis chamber. But that's only because that's where I would end it.
Well, and that's where Goyer would focus.
Maybe.
I don't think you're wrong about your prediction. Like Jor-El and and like the clearing of the path that everything's out of Jor-El's way, that he just lives his life, and you get Kal-El, I do feel like Goyer understands the importance of Krypton and Jor-El in general. Like the upbringing, well, not even the upbringing, the genetics of Kal-El. I think it is important to him. So you may be right.
All right, one more bit, and then we'll close out the episode. Travis Hines, Travis_156 on Twitter, as we just said, says, "Will we get a review of Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay at some point?" Pretty cool little twist in that one. I intend to wait until the Blu-ray so that I can get my digital copy for free and put that on Vudu. And then Jason can watch it, or there's no reason for us to both buy this thing and then me buy it again or him buy it again on Blu-ray. Like, that's just ridiculous.
I like to think of this as our form of protest. It's like, there's no reason for any one single person to buy the DVD after they already bought the actual copy. It's stupid. You buy a digital, and then like 3 weeks later, you have the copy in your hands. That also involves the digital. Like, this is my form of protest. They're milking us for money. It annoys me.
Well, sure.
I don't like it. I can't see any benefit from it. For our it's just stupid.
It is.
There's no way we win as consumers on that one. I hate it.
I agree. So that's what we'll do, and we'll have a review of it at some point in the future. We will review it.
We'll get there. Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap it up, man. I got nothing else. We've gone on for an hour and 45 minutes
Good Lord,
by my clock. That's before editing. So, guys, you can find every episode of DC On Screen at DCOnScreen.com. You can go and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DC On Screen. I'm on Vero, David C. Robertson. You can also follow me on Twitter as David C. Robertson. And we're done. Y'all have a good one.
I'll do it.
Until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you